Okay, so we're going through the Module 5 discussion. So for the book vendors that I chose Scholastic Books, Mackin, Compendium, and Barnes & Noble. So Scholastic Books has a ton of collections that you can filter by subject, age, and format. They also include a lot of contemporary book collections, and also, obviously, you know them for their book fairs, which you can invite to your library, bring into your library. Mackin has an extensive book recommendation service that really pulls in a lot of highly positive book reviews. And then the way that I used their services for collections list is that I specified the dollar amount that I wanted to spend, and they gave me a collection of titles based on that dollar amount for my budget. Barnes & Noble, obviously like a huge book provider, and I focused on their curated book lists that were young adult literature, but they also include, interestingly, they connect it kind of to like Book Talk, which is the TikTok for book lovers, book recommendations, and things like that. So there's different curated lists that they have as well. So within Scholastic, I would purchase the Culturally Responsive High School book collection. $375 for 25 titles that really help to broaden the representation for the books within my library. Under Mackin, again, I used their curated list for grades 9 through 12, and then I limited myself to $200, and then based on they gave me like 300 titles, and I picked 16 titles out of that list to meet my $200 limit. But these are really high interest. A lot of them have positive ratings. Like you can see the star down here. There's also grade level, like appropriateness level, and so that's how I picked those books. From Barnes & Noble, they had a young adult bestsellers list, and the 12 books that I chose off of that list to kind of fit into like a $100 to $200 range considered a lot of more contemporary books, newer titles, and then I also picked a few out of this series. I think the 3 from the series of The Summer I Turned Pretty, because of Amazon Prime just putting out that show. For furniture, I picked Wayfair, Worthington Direct, and Amazon. So Wayfair is very reasonably priced, so is Amazon. Wayfair, they come unassembled, but they're very easy to assemble. I have furniture from Wayfair in my own home. Same thing with Amazon. And Worthington Direct had a lot of really cool desk arrangements, so that's why I picked them. For Wayfair, I chose this shelving unit with trays. So I picked this because it could house, I liked the clear bins because they can easily show students what's in each bin. You can use this for makerspace materials if you're doing a particular like makerspace activity, or you can also just put general library supplies in it. For Worthington Direct, I picked these really cool hierarchy shaped desks and chairs that are dry erase on the top of the tables. You can reconfigure the desks in a bunch of different ways. You get 10 desks total. And I thought I was really, really excited to find this one because I know how good this can be for collaboration and problem solving with makerspaces and just really encouraging students to talk to one another. For Amazon, I picked this rotating bookshelf. I wanted to use this to have my like highlight books on it. So like with The Summer I Turned Pretty, you know, those book 2 movie or TV collections. For makerspace materials, I went with Oriental Trading Company, Demco, and Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave was really difficult I used it for makerspaces instead of book titles. That was a difficult choice that I had to make for myself. But Oriental Trading Company gives you a lot of bulk resources for very good prices. Demco has a ton of makerspace kits, depending on age and subject. And you can also access a lot of blogs about kind of enhancing your makerspace areas. Tidal Wave also has a ton of makerspace kits, and so that's ultimately why I chose to use this for makerspace versus for titles. Oriental Training Company, I just would purchase this Boredom Buster kit, just a bunch of different kind of random things that you could use for just open-ended creation or for certain planned activities. The Ozobot, another thing that I was really excited to put into my budget, fundamental coding skills, using sequencing, debugging. They can literally see their learning in action right in front of them. Super cool. And then from Tidal Wave, I pulled this basic coding kit, fairly inexpensive, but it has 6 different modules where students can learn about electronic and circuitry concepts. Technology tools, I picked an assistive technology tool called Learning Ally for audiobooks. They not only have 80,000 titles, but they also have textbooks. EBSCO topic search, and then the Vive, I think, Pro virtual reality headset. So for Learning Ally, again, I said it's an assistive technology tool. So this would basically just expand whatever sources we already have to offer audiobooks to students. A lot of libraries already have audiobooks built in, but you have to check them out. This just expands that ability for students to check out different audiobooks. They also have some newer titles that might not be available on regular library databases. EBSCO topic search. This is great for research. It's great for students to really explore current things that are going on, scientific discoveries, things that are much more current, just to enhance their research and knowledge building. The VR headset from Vive Pro was another really exciting one for me to find. So basically, students can use this obviously to explore just virtual environments, but they can also create their own virtual environments. They can create videos, manipulable videos, and they can even, with certain apps, they can explore the human body, which I think would be really applicable to like AP anatomy and physiology. For supplies, I went with Office Depot, Brodart, and the library store. So just kind of great places for a wide range of different supplies. Office Depot is, just kind of the back burner, like you pop in there for whatever you can think of. Brodart has a ton of varieties of just different library supplies, from like book repair kits. They have security supplies, like making sure students aren't walking out with your books. They have STEM kits. They have a ton of different stuff on that website. And the library store was a really fun one to look at too. A lot of things at this point were out of my budget, but they did have some more reasonably priced, just decorative items. So from Office Depot, I ended up picking a label maker. You never know. You always need a label maker. But this can help with not gentrification, that's what that should say. And you can label, tubs, you can label shelves, things like that. From Brodart, I picked some sign holders because I was planning to genreify my library where books are collected together that are of certain interests or certain topics. And this can kind of help just structure my library a little bit better. And if I end up going with just kind of the typical nonfiction, fiction, romance, different organizational systems, that way I can then kind of draw attention to certain titles within my collection that aren't being specifically highlighted in other areas. And then from the library store, I ended up picking these fluorescent light filters. Fluorescent lights can be very harsh for students to read with. They can cause a lot of eye strain. They can cause migraines, headaches, things like that. So I thought this could be a nice way to bring some ambiance to my library. So my totals for each of the sections are there, and then my grand total was $9,900.54.